Welcome to Your Cochrane right now. This is a weekly podcast all about the best town in the entire world, Cochrane, Alberta. As always, I'm joined by Lauren Meister. My name's Eric Ruddle. And Lauren, we were people watching probably a day ago. All the townspeople were out putting up the signs. Christmas is slowly coming to Cochrane. Is it too early? Should we be waiting until Light Up, which is next weekend?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. So I always feel like it's kind of fair game right after Remembrance Day,
that
right?
Saturday, you could go.
Exactly. So November 12th, it's kind of fair game. Nobody's going to get in trouble for putting up their Christmas decorations. But is it too early? Like, do people really want 6+ weeks of Christmas decorations? I have some friends who are full on, like they are Christmas in their homes, Christmas music. They're ready. I don't decorate this early. Do you?
No, actually, I love Christmas. I love the whole decoration, but I feel like some of it might lose its charm when you have it up for almost 2 months. But whenever I'm describing like Light Up to somebody outside of Cochrane, I say like that's the time that we we turn it on here in town. These lights are already on. Like, is there going to be a big moment next weekend?
I think there still will be, because that's going to be like the big lighting of the tree. It's going to be the light show.
Do we have a tree?
Well, they put that big metal one. Like, we don't have like a Manhattan,
like a Macy's,
Rockefeller tree or whatever. We don't have that.
Right, we should.
We should.
Yeah. Oh,
100% we should.
Oh my gosh! If we want a news story, our wind here, like in New York, you'd have the buildings to protect it. It would be blown over.
It would be. It'd be kind of a leaning tower of tree.
Yeah. But is it too early?
I don't know. I don't know what the right date is. I feel like for indoor Christmas decorations, it's a bit too early for my taste. I've got to say, though, on my drive into work, I'm quite enjoying all of the nice decorations, though. Like all of them in the quarry here. Like it's quite pretty. It's pleasant.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful drive at 4:30 in the morning. I'm like, oh, well, this is nice.
And as much as we're not thinking of like celebrating, a lot of people are shopping already. We have so many local businesses here in town who are already selling their Christmas presents and stuff. Maybe it's a good thing to get people into like the Christmas zone. You need to start going to get presents.
Well, and I think this Christmas is going to be the first Christmas in like 3-ish years that people are getting together again.
Oh my gosh.
Like we haven't been able to actually celebrate Christmas with each other for a few years. You and I, we both had COVID last Christmas, so we were hanging out by ourselves with our own small little families.
Yes.
So I don't know about you, but knock on wood, I'm hoping to hang out with some people, some actual humans other than just the 3 other people that I live with this Christmas.
It was a comfy Christmas last year, and I think a lot of people went through that experience, right? Either you had it or somebody you were going to have Christmas dinner with had it, so it's going to be really nice to have it normal here in town. And Light Up, I really believe, is going to be, that's kind of in my mind, the end of the COVID Christmas and the beginning of normal Christmas. But it might be too big this year. That is my worry, because we got, 12,000 people in 2019?
Yeah, well, we got 12,000 hot dogs coming, so...
What if just like everyone comes? Like there is 33,000 people in town now. Like at 12,000 people, your cell phones didn't work downtown. There was no internet. There was no service. There was too many people. Could you imagine? Because people are starved for it.
Yeah.
Are we going to have like too many people at Light Up?
Well, then we're going to have to start rationing the hot dogs.
Everyone gets half.
Exactly, half a hot dog. And then let's just really cross our fingers that there's no emergency, that we don't need to, call 911 or something, because we can't use our cell phones.
But it is cool because the fire services are prepared for it. So they said they have super fancy equipment that they bring down that gives them service.
That's true.
So if there was an emergency, you might not be able to call them, but they're going to be down there.
They're going to be there.
Exactly.
They're going to be on top of things.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's true. I have thought about that before, too. What if there are too many people? But there's so many good restaurants here in town. Like, if there's not enough hot dogs for people, then people will just go there, enjoy Light Up for a couple of hours, and then they'll go out to eat someplace.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to be down there. We're broadcasting the music all down there. And let me tell you, there has been some issues knowing that like a lot of our systems here at the radio stations, they run off of the internet. So having that heads up has brought in a couple of issues. But man, is it just going to be special to be down there. And you know, a lot of the local businesses who are sponsoring tables and that whole thing are going to go all out. And I'm just excited for the people who moved to Cochrane in the past 2.5 years to see like, this is Cochrane.
Exactly.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
We are community.
They have, exactly. You hear about Light Up, and even one of our coworkers, she's only lived here for just over a year, and she is just pumped for Light Up this year. She keeps on hearing about it. She's seen photos. She wants to bring her family down. And I think people are going to be in for a real treat if they've never been before.
And we found out pyrotechnics,
Woohoo!
like $15,000 worth of like, they're not calling them fireworks because, of course, there's a lot of buildings downtown. They're not going to be shooting them like into the sky, but they're still going to be $15,000.
Yes, Home Treasures is just like the best. You know, you can't say enough good things about the folks over at Home Treasures. But yeah, so they're handing out the money to pay for the pyrotechnic show. But yeah, basically, Stephanie Shellstad, who is the chair of Cochrane Light Up, she is saying that you just need to be downtown to really immerse yourself in the pyrotechnic show because they don't go super high in the air. So you just need to be right there. I'm excited for that show. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Have you?
No, there is one photo like in Cochrane now that I've seen of fireworks going on during Light Up.
Okay.
But I just do not remember it. I think I've been to every normal Light Up, but Light Up is also not like you go from 4 to 7. You're there for 3 hours, right? So maybe I showed up and then I took off, but this is going to be really special. And I got to give it to Stephanie because she's done it for 10 years. This is her swan song year. She said she wanted to do one more normal one before she passed the reins off to somebody. And you know, she's just like, I'm going big.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be a big event. And good on her. The amount of time and effort and planning and commitment, like this is no small feat.
Oh, no. So it's going to be a ton of fun. That is next Saturday, so November 26th. Yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun. And hopefully a couple of people are getting raises here as we get closer to Christmas because the stats came out again. And it turns out the average Cochranite needs to make $22.35 to live comfortably here in town. And I love Cochrane. I don't think you're living comfortably if you make $22.35 an hour. If you are just like, if that is the sole income, you might be scraping.
You might be, it might be a little tight. And what are we, like the third or the fourth most expensive as far as cost of living in Alberta?
Yeah.
I think.
Right.
Canmore's number 1, I believe.
Yeah, we've talked to a couple of people who've moved to Cochrane from Canmore. And they're like, unless you are making well into the triple figures, you are not living in Canmore.
Like not a chance. Like Canmore is just, very, very expensive. I think it's like Canmore, Fort McMurray, Calgary, and Cochrane.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's not surprising. We know it's pricey to live here because it's the best town in the world, as you say. It really, really is. Yeah. But man, it's pricey. Yeah. Like, whenever I hear those numbers, I often think about single parents. The parent with multiple kids, trying to get those kids in different activities and run them around to all those activities. And I think, man, I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And it's hard for us to also, you and I, we don't leave town very often, right? We grocery shop here and everything. So the prices are just the prices, right? If we drove to Lacombe, do groceries cost less there? I don't know. Is rent less there? Probably. But we also, you pay for what you get, right? Yeah. And like we just had some people visiting the radio station. They're like, you guys live here? Like, you have the mountains right there. And we're like, yeah, it's pretty nice. It's lost on us. But yeah,
no
like as much as I'd love for it to be cheaper here, it's also like we live in such a picturesque town.
Yeah.
And with COVID bringing so many people to us, right, who work remotely and they don't want to live in Calgary anymore, right? Calgary sucks. We rock. So you got to imagine that price. I would not be shocked if it's around 24 next year.
I do believe that, I mean, I can't speak to rent and other costs, but we camped quite a bit near Innisfail in the summer. And anyway, we got my kids into swimming lessons because, you know, that sometimes it's tricky to get kids into swimming lessons in Cochrane. But it just worked out that we were spending a week at the lake near Innisfail. So my kids got into swimming lessons in Innisfail, and it was way cheaper to do swimming lessons there. I couldn't even believe it. Like talking about $25 per week per kid. That's it.
But then you live somewhere else.
Yeah,
right?
Totally. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I want to stay living in Cochrane, 100%. But I was like, holy moly, there's a drastic difference in price here.
Yeah. So what if I told you, hey, Lauren, I will give you Holy Spirit, the old Holy Spirit on the east end of Cochrane, for $10. Would you buy it?
100,000,000%.
That's exactly what they did. They were like, hey, Rocky View Schools, do you want this school? We'll give it to you for $10.
That's incredible.
But what they're not talking about is the millions of dollars of renovations they have to put into this building. But yeah, I went to Holy Spirit growing up here in town, and I have not been in that school in at least a decade, if not longer. And I'd imagine if I went in, it'd be like, whoo, blast from the past. Apparently, they haven't really done much to it in the last 25 years. Yeah. So it'd be really interesting to walk through that school.
You know what's interesting is it was sold for $10 to the Catholic school division, like 30-some years ago. Yeah. So then now it's sold back to Rocky View schools for the same price, which I thought was funny. It's like you'd think that they would have inflated the price.
My thing is like, does Rocky View Schools actually give them like a $10 bill? Or is it kind of like a joke like, haha, get us back? Or is it like, here is $10?
Yeah, I would imagine a check would be written. Like, I think that I think like all the legal paperwork, they have to actually like have some money exchanged.
Cash,
yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Like I would imagine for accounting purposes. Yeah. But because I know in some small towns, like in rural areas in the past, people have bought schools and turned them into...
They're so cool.
Yeah, and turned them into housing or whatever. I think it would be cool because our radio station, you know, sometimes we could use a little bit more elbow room.
Right.
Wouldn't it be cool if we could move the radio station? It's a great location.
It's so big. Your bathrooms would be down the hall. Like, we have to time songs here at the radio station. Be like, I got 3 minutes. I can go pee. Could you imagine sprinting down the hall of a school trying to get to the washroom?
Just think about how good, like, you'd be in great shape, though.
Oh, yeah. But it's really interesting as well. We're not 100% sure who's going into Holy Spirit, right? There's a few rumors floating around, but it's going to be pretty cool to see what that becomes, and that it's not just going to become like condominiums, which I expected it to be.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, I think it's going to be used for a school for the next foreseeable future anyway, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And you talked to a guy who is really good at handstands, and he's going to use that to raise food for the Cochrane Food Bank.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So Mr. Wetton, he is a teacher at Cochrane High, and he and his, I think he's part of the leadership team, but he and his class, they wanted to come up with a unique way to do a food drive. So he said that for, I think it was every 10 pounds of food that they bring in, he was going to walk on his hands for 1 foot.
That is incredible. I don't think I could get onto my hands for any feat. And it was funny, we were talking to Noel in the newsroom, and he's like, oh yeah, he's ripped. Like, he is a one strong man, so he will have no problem. So make sure you challenge him. So that's really cool.
Yeah, well, when I was talking to him, because the goal is to raise like 3,000 pounds of food. So they have a really long hallway apparently at Cochrane High. So he's going to like walk up and down this hallway on his hands. Yeah. But I asked him, I was like, what if they raise like an obscene amount of food and you have to walk like
miles
up and down, like 10 or 15 times. I'm like, can you do that? And he said, well, yeah, I can. But he's like, it's just a matter of, it's going to take a little bit of time. It might take 1 or 2 lunch hours. And he said it can be unbroken. It's not solid.
Ah,
yes. So he
tricky.
I know. So he could just do it like 10 times or something or whatever.
Yeah.
But wherever he like kicks down, they're just going to mark the spot.
Okay. Yeah, he should have to restart.
I know. It should be done in one solid amount. That should be in the rules.
Exactly. We're ones to talk, right? I like to see one of us do a handstand.
I know.
But, that is everything happening in Cochrane right now. You can grab this on your favorite podcast service every single week. Until next time, I'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah.